So I'm just going to get into it and give you the answer right away. Just know that I'll be expanding on this concept I'm about to give you with practical examples you can apply further in the video. A lot of it is mindset, paradigm shifts, and understandings that have really helped me. I think will help you change your outlook on weight loss. So make sure to stick around. If you want to change your life forever, learn what your daily maintenance calories are. Track and weigh every single calorie that you put into your mouth for just 1 week to get an accurate, no BS metric on your daily intake, and then spend those daily calories wisely for the rest of your life. Treat it like a daily budget, and the cost of going over that budget repeatedly over time is obesity. Once you understand this on a deep core level and make a firm decision to apply what you know, you'll most likely want to mainly consume low-calorie, high-volume, nutrient-dense foods, and your body will transform in 6 months to a year. 70% of Americans would not be overweight if we were taught how to meticulously apply this in grade school. If it was prioritized and taught as a universal law, which it is. It comes from the first law of thermodynamics. Now, before I go any further, the next thing I want to say is very important. Your intrinsic worth as a human being is in no way determined by the shape of your body. Most of the outside world will treat you differently depending on your appearance, unfortunately. But regardless of how your body looks right now, you have a profound depth and capacity for love, inner beauty, and consciousness, and you fucking matter. And if you truly desire to make these positive changes in your life, I wholeheartedly believe that you can do it. All this is surface level stuff, but it's nice to be in great shape. You'll have more energy, you'll feel better, you'll naturally have more confidence as a man, your dating life will get easier, and people might be a little nicer to you. But love yourself, regardless of what stage you're at in your health and fitness journey. And if anything, the chances of you starting and following through on this path to losing weight is much higher if it's coming from a place of self-love rather than self-loathing. So remember that. That should be the foundation of your motivation. Get excited about the progress that you're gonna make if you commit yourself to getting into the shape that you envision. I'm completely aware that the title of this video might be a little triggering for some of you. Yet here you are. You clicked it. That means this message is for you. Something in you wants a no bullshit truth, and that says a lot. If ever I talk in a way that's really direct or might come across as condescending or a bit triggering, I promise you it's not coming from a mean place. Whether or not we ever meet in real life, I genuinely want you to succeed. I've just learned that feminine energy tends to grow with praise, and masculine energy grows through challenge, and sometimes through shockingly direct statements like,
"Here's a profound explanation of why you're fat."
Get your brain to stop and pay attention. And that was my goal with the title of this video. This is how I sometimes talk to close guy friends that I love and care about in real life, who I know deep down want change and are just tired of excuses. So I wanted to establish that moving forward. So this is me in my 20s. I'm overweight and it really crept up on me. I have the kind of genetics where my face changes drastically depending on where I'm at with my weight. I remember when I first saw some of these photos and it was very sobering because I've always considered myself a healthy person. But the reality of it was I knew little to nothing about health and nutrition at the time. It took me a decade from that point to self-experiment and educate myself to get to the shape that I'm in now. But I think I could break down a lot of it and hopefully save you some time. I'm not a doctor, which is great because most doctors don't know what the hell they're talking about, at least when it comes to overall health and having a healthy body composition. Throughout my entire life, I'd say about 70 or 80% of all doctors that I've ever visited were either overweight or obese. Doctors are definitely necessary and have their place. I'm not saying they're completely useless by any means. In my opinion, when it comes to things like physical trauma, if you need surgery or have a broken bone, if you have some kind of crazy infection and need someone to administer antibiotics or penicillin, then you definitely need a doctor, whether they're obese or not. But when it comes to overall health advice, nutrition, losing weight, I think either a nutritionist who's actually physically healthy themselves and there's evidence that they actually apply the knowledge that they have, or someone who's just self-experimented and self-educated for years and has clearly gotten results for themselves. Education and knowledge means absolutely nothing without the evidence of application. It's like hiring an overweight personal trainer. Regardless of their knowledge, they clearly can't bring themselves to apply it, so it makes you think that they're going to be able to get you to apply it. Now, if you're a teenager or in your 20s and you're not overweight yet, then learning these principles early will prevent you from ever looking like 90% of adult Americans do. And if you're already overweight, this will show you how to fix it, or at least give you more of an understanding and a few steps closer to changing the paradigm that's causing you to struggle. This isn't about methods, it's about the understanding of certain laws. And you'll see what I mean shortly. Almost every athletic friend that I had in high school is now overweight in their 30s. These guys were lean, had six packs, girls looked twice. Now they just look like your average American. It's uncanny. The rare times that I scroll on Facebook, come across old friends, I barely recognize them because their faces have completely changed and are bloated from the gradual weight gain. They didn't understand what I'm explaining to you in this video. So no matter what you've heard before in other mainstream media outlets or YouTube videos, the reason that you've gained weight is because of the first law of thermodynamics. If you're fat, it's not your fault because society is not set up in your favor, but it is your responsibility to change it, especially after getting the information in this video. If you really listen and internalize what I'm telling you, you can't unhear this, which means if you don't apply it, you're choosing from now on to remain fat. If you consume more energy than you're burning, it will get stored as body fat. Now, something like exercise is helpful, but the main purpose of it is to build muscle. You will never outwork a massive calorie surplus. If you put fuel in a car and you keep filling it up, it leaks out. But for human beings, it gets stored. It's as true as gravity itself. The reason why you don't come across obese animals in the wild, or if you do, it's very, very rare, is because human beings have put themselves in a very interesting situation by inventing hyper-palatable, high-calorie, high-sugar foods. In caveman days, if you came across something sweet and delicious, it would be in your best interest to consume as much as possible, because if it got stored, it was a good thing. You didn't know when you would get that opportunity again. It could honestly save your life to have as much fat stores as possible, which still probably wasn't that much. There's actually such an intelligence behind the mechanism of storing fat. Nature originally put it there to be something helpful for us, but things have drastically changed in our society, so we need to adapt. But first, we need to have this deep understanding. We still have all those mechanisms, but now the delicious high-calorie foods are limitless. And unfortunately, it also seems like there's no limit to how much fat we can store, which is why there's people in this world that weigh 1,000 pounds. Now, there seems to be two camps of people in the nutrition realm. Those that think a calorie is a calorie, regardless of what form it takes. And then people who think that all calories are not equal, and that you'll gain more fat from certain calories if they're coming from unhealthy foods. And I'd say that both sides have a little bit of truth, half-truths. I don't think either side is completely correct or incorrect, as it is in most cases in life when there's two different perspectives on opposing sides. Calories, at the end of the day, are just a measurement of energy. That absolutely does not change regardless of where the calories are coming from. Whether you get 500 calories from table sugar, 500 calories from lean meat and vegetables, both will be stored as fat in a surplus that goes above your maintenance calories, period. Now the difference is if you consume 500 calories of table sugar, you'll get no macro or micronutrients that are helpful for your body, no sense of fullness or satiation. You won't get any protein, you won't get any vitamins. It's just empty calories. You're basically wasting your daily budget of calories that we mentioned earlier for the taste of some sweetness. Now, if you spend those calories on lean meat and vegetables, you'll get protein, you'll get vitamins, you'll get a sense of fullness, and you'll feel satisfied. Your body will overall feel better because it's getting real nutrition. And that's one of the main issues. Someone on the go can grab a muffin in the morning to start their day. It can be consumed in 5 minutes or less, and it might be 900 calories. It's not filling, and they end up hungry again in a couple hours. There's little to no micronutrients, very little protein, which is usually what keeps you full and satiated. It contributes to building muscle and lean mass if you're also strength training a couple times a week. Another thing that you need to watch out for is you can consume so-called healthy foods that have decent macro and micronutrients, but they're insanely dense in calories and have little volume. Mainly nuts in any form. Almonds, peanuts, cashews, any kind of nut butter. You can still consume those, but you need to measure them out meticulously for a time until you can get a sense of how calorically dense they are. And chances are, once you do, most people won't be willing to spend their daily calorie budget on them because it might not be worth it to you. You'll probably want to consume a more satiating food instead. It really baffles my mind that all health experts don't talk about this almost exclusively. This is the end-all for fat loss. There was a podcast I heard a while back where the world-renowned record producer Rick Rubin was talking about his fat loss journey and how much he had struggled over the years. He was vegan, his whole life he tried everything. At one point, he even had a top nutritionist in the world living with him, paying this top nutrition expert tons of money to stay nearby diet and monitor everything that Rick Rubin was eating every single day. And he still somehow wasn't losing weight. The nutritionist was completely baffled. And it turns out this top nutritionist wasn't even tracking his calories. Eventually some time went by and Rick Rubin wanted to try again, so he hired another nutrition expert. Years later, this new nutritionist did track his calories. It turns out that every single night he was eating an entire jar of very healthy, organic peanut butter, which is like a casual extra 2,500 calories a day. So understand that even so-called nutrition experts a lot of times don't know what the they're doing. So I think the first nutrition expert he hired was confused by the lack of results, because typically whenever he just switched people to healthy foods, naturally they just started eating more voluminous, satisfying foods. Chicken breasts, potatoes, vegetables, as opposed to muffins and sweets. They would naturally lose weight because they would be filling up on lower calorie foods. But certain people just have insane appetites, kind of like myself. I could eat a whole pizza and still feel like I want to eat more, and then just keep eating. Certain starchy, simple carb type foods like rice, pasta, pizza, for whatever reason, it's just not that filling to me. But low calorie, high dense foods like protein, lean meat, vegetables like raw carrots, and even strawberries, which are an amazing snack, they fill me up. You can eat like 300 grams and it's still only 100 calories. So it's gonna take some time to internalize all these things. The best thing that you can do is just start putting some of these small things into practice. Start by not grabbing the 900 calorie, non-satiating muffin. Maybe grab a banana and a protein bar instead. You'll feel more full and you'll be shaving off a solid 600 calories. Make it your mission to learn how to wisely budget your daily calories day by day. Now, if you have a lot of fat to lose, I'll take some of the guesswork out of it right now. Instead of trying to calculate your maintenance calories, just set a goal to eat around 2,000 calories a day, give or take. Some days it might be 1,900, some days it might be 2,200. Measure and weigh all of your intake. When you know you only have that few calories to work with, you're going to want to set yourself up for success by eating high volume filling foods like lean meat and vegetables, not high calorie, low volume foods like muffins and nuts, sugary drinks like soda and juice. Don't ever waste your daily calories on sweet beverages. Train yourself to learn how to enjoy water. It's the best hydration you can get and it's 0 calories. You will lose fat, and if you're not fat yet, you can know that you never will be when you have this deep understanding and you apply it. One more important thing I want to mention is fructose. I would recommend just try to avoid it as much as possible. It increases your appetite and it's highly addictive. Studies have compared its addictive properties to cocaine, and it's said to increase a hormone in your body called leptin, which makes you feel more hungry. And having an increased appetite just makes calorie control an uphill battle. It's already difficult enough for most people, so why add to that? Fructose and sugar in general also messes with your dopamine levels, which just isn't ideal for any man who's serious about self-improvement. We want balanced dopamine levels, so our motivation to work towards goals and self-actualization is optimized. So that's just a little disclaimer about sugar and fructose. Now, it's not easy to cut out sweets completely, and you still want to enjoy your life. So to make it much easier, I would recommend replacing fructose and sugar as much as possible. If you love sugary soda, maybe replace it with a product like Zevia. If you love Snickers bars, replace that with something like a chocolate chip cookie dough Quest bar, which is high in protein and honestly delicious. If you love sugary cereal, try something like Magic Spoon or Wonderworks brands. They're just as delicious in my opinion. They're sweetened mostly with allulose and they're high in protein too. Just make sure you're tracking the calories. So I hope this helps you. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, if I can clarify anything, or if you have any questions. Watch this video next for even more specific fat loss tactics based on the principles I just explained to you. Tap subscribe if the video was helpful, and thanks for watching. You're choosing from now on to be fat.